Hey y'all, Ms. B, and I'm here to cover day 10 of the Diddy trial. I want to say I could not wait to hear Capricorn Clark's testimony. I remember Capricorn Clark and Lauren London in early 2000s, mid 2000s, always together, to the fact where everybody thought Capricorn Clark and Lauren London were sisters. That's not true. They were just really good friends. So today's YouTubers I watched was Martin Wiggins. He did a very good job of breaking everything down. His live was like it's very lengthy. I'm just gonna say this in a very condensed, matter of fact way, and talk about key points that stood out to me that obviously shows Rico, the kidnapping of it all. Also, I started following Simone Redwine. She's actually an actual attorney, and she gives her advice based on how she feels the jury feels, how she feels the defense is doing versus the prosecution and all that. So I listen to both of them. It's a lot of content creators in New York right now. It's a lot of content creators on YouTube, like recapping this trial. It's like the trial of the century. It's like OJ all over again. But it seems like a lot of misinformation. When I was getting ready to prepare my video, I had to really really read deep dive articles about what she actually said, because one person would say this and another person would say that. So what I gathered from, she said a lot. Like Capricorn Clark spent the whole day doing a testimony. She was the only witness today. So before the trial even started, the defense was trying to strike down a couple of things from Kid Cudi's testimony, which was how he felt Diddy acted at Soho House about his car being blown up. Also, some of Cassie's testimony, and also the therapist. They was trying to challenge, saying that this therapist that was on the stand last week was basically a hired therapist for trials, not actually seeing clients, not an active therapist. So that's what Diddy's defense tried to do before Capricorn Clark even got up on the trial. On the stand. But this is what she basically said. I'm going to stick to the points of the kidnapping of it all. She was saying, her and Diddy were industry friends for many, many years. She was working at Def Jam. She also worked with Suge. She worked at Death Row before too. Remember that. So one day she gets a call from a headhunter. It's like, hey, I got this job I think you'd be great for, and it's for a big mogul. She called Diddy. They're like, hey, you got a position open? He was like, yeah, you want to come work for me? Because they were industry friends, not friends, but industry friends. So she went to go work with her. She would work with him. She said the first day she started working with him, he asked her to take a walk with him through Central Park. If you ever seen Central Park, it's massive. At night, it's dark. It's pitch black. It's like really woods, a lot of trees. And he walked her to the woods with his security, with that pow in tow, and was basically saying to her, you didn't tell me you worked with Suge Knight. And she was like, oh, well, I thought you knew based on the headhunter calling you. And he was like, no. And if we have any issues with the Suge Knight of it all, then it's gonna be some problems. So that was like the first threat, and honestly that was the first time he kidnapped her, because she couldn't just leave Central Park against her will. He was there, and somebody picking you up at 9 o'clock at night and like kind of forcing you to go take a walk in dark woods with somebody there with a pow. What do? You sit there and listen to them. So that was the first instance of the kidnapping. The second example of the kidnapping that he did with her, he kept kidnapping her a lot. It was crazy. They said she was very emotional. Amon Wiggins, everything that she would say, she would just break down and cry. You could see the hurt. When I was listening to Simone Redwine from her legalese side of it, she was like, you have to remember that the jury are regular people. So yes, she's crying up on the stand, and she's had all these horrific things happen to her, but the jury are regular people, so they probably think these are rich folks' problems. So girl, Effie, we all got pain. Like, okay, this happened to you, but you kept going back to him for work. We're gonna talk about that too. So the second time, Diddy got some jewelry, some loan jewelry from Jacob the Jeweler. We all know Jacob the Jeweler. He's a rapper by him and all the songs. And they were going to Miami. When she got ready to pack the bag to go to Miami, she couldn't find the jewelry. She called Diddy and told him. He was like, you know what, you stay behind and figure that out, and you know, everything's gonna be okay. He was calm, and then I'll see you in Miami. So her and security like went questioning everybody, locked everything down. Then eventually security kind of flipped on her and went through all her apartment, went through all her stuff trying to find this jewelry. So then one day security came and got her and took her to abandoned building, which she said at the time she didn't know it was going to eventually be Bad Boys headquarters. I think 1710 Broadway or something like that. I think they turned that now into the Rio Hotel. Anyway, and took her to an abandoned building with a large size guy. They was asking like, how large was he? She was just crying and crying, and she was like 5 of me. And she was like, he was really huge, somebody she had never seen before, somebody that she did not recognize as part of the security detail. And he stood there and forced her to take a lie detector test, strapped her down to a lie detector chair, smoked a cigarette and drank black coffee. And they asked her like, what was his demeanor? She was like, very serious, very stern. And he told her, if you don't pass this lie detector test, you're gonna end up in the East River. So for 5 days straight, all day, for 5 days straight, this girl, this lady, this woman had to go to this abandoned building every single day with this big scary man and do lie detector tests because they kept coming back inconclusive. And she was like, well, they're coming back inconclusive because like I'm terrified, I'm petrified. Like, what do you expect for me to do? Because he kept, the big guy kept warning her, well, you need to calm down because you're gonna end up in the East River. So I feel like that is so prevalent to people who keep saying, oh, where's the RICO? Where's the RICO? You have kidnapping. This lady literally gave us 3 examples of kidnapping. Of course, the defense is going to come back and say, well, you kept going back to him. But again, I'm going to get to that part. So I guess eventually she passed a lie detector test, or maybe Puffy just wanted to stop torturing her. So after the 5th day, he was like, okay, Puffy said return to work tomorrow. She said she got to work and Puffy didn't say nothing about the jury. Didn't say anything about her taking his lie detector test. Even another assistant was talking about when something came up missing, how he forced him to take a lie detector test. Honestly, I don't even be feeling like this jury be coming up missing, or maybe did he be doing this to like threaten and intimidate his employees, because it's like similar stories to the previous assistant. I didn't take anything. It just came up lost all of a sudden. We don't know how I got lost. And then I have to take this lie detector test. And then Diddy goes on about like nothing happened. I think it's a lot of intimidation. And this was a very clear case of kidnapping. Like, you're forcing me to sit in an abandoned building and take a lie detector test, and I can't leave at my free will. Like, you're dragging me to an abandoned building. That means like if she screams, nobody's going to hear her. She can't call out for help. And repeatedly, that's like mental torture. But repeatedly take a lie detector test. If y'all don't see how sick and crazy this man, I see a lot of discussion going on. I even had a debate with one of my friends over the weekend about the whole, they just trying to take all black men down. No, the chickens have come home to roost for Diddy. You do bad things come back and get you. It's a circle of life. Everything, karma, it exists. So his chickens have come out of roost. He's gotten away with things for far too long. Like, I remember I said before in one of my previous videos, I've heard it was rumblings, and I'm just a nobody. So imagine people in the industry, if they heard rumblings about how his temper was, how, you know, the drugs of it all, the things that he would do to people, or people would just come up missing or things like that. How do you think his staff felt? And then stuff like this, locking this girl up in an abandoned building for days. So anyway, after that, she just returned to work. Diddy act like ain't nothing happened. Another example of kidnapping with the Kid Cudi stuff. She said Diddy came banging on her door. She said it sounded like metal on metal. And they asked her, what do you mean metal on metal? She was like, well, I have a metal door. And she said, I kept looking through the peephole. And you could tell like he was holding something. And they asked her, did she open the door? She's like, yeah, I had to open the door because part of my job was protect his image. And he can't just be at my apartments where people can see this huge mogul billionaire. You know, do you remember presentation when he was, how did he presented himself to us, definitely was not the person he was behind the scenes. And she was like, I can't, I had to protect his image. This is my job. So she let him in. He told her to get dressed, like, hurry up and get dressed. They were going to go to Kid Cudi's house so he can unalive him. And he was like ranting and raving, like, why you didn't tell me about Cassie and Scott? And she was like, who is Scott? And he was like, Kid Cudi. She said, did he look real disheveled? His pants were ripped so far you could see his like underwear. It was crazy. It was just crazy. So he forces her to go to Kid Cudi's house. Before they get to Kid Cudi's house, she called Lauren London. Lauren London again, her best friend. So close they thought they were sisters. They kind of favor each other a little bit, but not too much. But you could say that might be her sister, but they were just really close. She called Lauren London, and on cross, on the defense asked her, well, why would you call Lauren London first? Because Puffy asked her to call Cassie. It was like, only way that I'm going to let you free if you and Cassie meet me at my house. So she said she called Lauren London, and they was like, why? And she was like, because. She's like, I don't have anybody. What she detailed in her testimony was she don't have any parents. Her father died when she was young. Her mother overdosed on powder, and she has a autistic child. She's like, she don't have enough family to call to help her. She don't, like, Cassie mama could get an extra loan on her house to pay off Diddy for his extortion about her tapes or whatever. She didn't have that. She said, I need somebody to know where I was. Well, anyway, they get to Kid Cudi's house. She calls Cassie. This is one part of the story that's kind of confusing because Kid Cudi said she called him. Today she said she called Cassie, and Kid Cudi could hear what she was saying and basically telling Cassie, he's at your house. And that's what Kid Cudi was like, I'm coming there. And another part of the story that we didn't hear from Kid Cudi was that he actually pulled up on them while they were in the black SUV, and it was like a high-speed chase in the hills. Now, how Amon Wiggins was explaining, the Hollywood Hills is like really narrow streets. It's like a really affluent area. It's barely anywhere to park. Like, could you imagine? And he was like, at any point in time, like, you can go off a cliff. Like, this is California, it's LA. You can go off a cliff. Amon Wiggins was like, it's crazy to imagine, Kid Cudi running, speeding off of his Porsche and Diddy following behind him. So eventually the cops arrived to Kid Cudi's house, and Diddy kind of calmed down, and eventually they leave. But they pull over into One Oaks parking lot, and the defense was like, what do you mean you went to a club? She was like, no, we pulled into the parking lot. She talked to Cassie. She told Cassie, look, he wants you to meet, like, we got to meet him or I can't go. I mean, how much kidnapping is he going to do to this woman? That was my thought process. So eventually she tells us, that Diddy had a meeting with her and Cassie, and during that meeting, he literally like kicked, karate chopped Cassie all the way out the door. Now, think about a house that Diddy lives in. I mean, we're talking about mega mansions. That means Amon Wiggins was like, she explained it like he would not stop. He relentlessly drop kicked her, round kicked her all the way out the door into the street and was still stomping on her. He never used his hands. He was just kicking like she was a dog. She said at that time, Capricorn Clark said at that time, she called Cassie's mother and told her, like, I can't call the police, because Diddy said that, like, if anybody call the police, you need to talk to him. You talk to Kid Cudi about the police, because anybody call the police, y'all all gonna be unalived. And she also kind of threw Cassie under the bus. I want to say under the bus, but she told her truth. Was like, when she went back to work for Diddy another time, she would come back and work for Diddy plenty of times. Diddy was such a huge entertainment mogul that, like, where are you gonna go from there? And that was what her business was. And then she didn't want to be blackballed, which is essentially what happens to her. But anyway, when she became Cassie, she came back one time to do Sean John, which I remember the Sean John ad for women's, and it was Cassie and Lauren London and Puffy on the advertisement. I guess that was Capricorn Clark's work. She was saying, like, he would, instruct her to work with Cassie, but Cassie kind of came off kind of spoiled and entitled a little bit. Like, she didn't, like, they had a friendship, but now it was like Cassie was moving a little different. She did mention that. Also, she stated she was only making $65K annually, but her apartment was paid by Diddy. Her phone was paid by Diddy. Her car was paid by Diddy. Everything that she owned, Diddy, the company paid for it. There's your Rico. Company paid for it. Everything that she did with the, you getting him his drugs, this Louis Vuitton pouch that everybody's talked about, where he keeps his drugs nearby, the company paid for it. She even talked about how Diddy was getting so many controlled substances, like the pharmacies flagged him. Like you ever heard a story, like if a pharmacy or somebody or a doctor feels like you are abusing prescription drugs, controlled substances, they will flag your name and you can't get them anymore. So he was forcing Capricorn Clark to start putting all the medication and drugs, prescription medications, in her name. Crazy. And also one time she was saying, like, she went to HR and complained, like, I'm working all these hours. She said she worked from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. every single day. He told her one time she tried to go with Pharrell to like another island when they in Diddy's house on Star Island, just like an hour away. He called her back, was like, you can't have no life. This is your life. And so she went to HR and was like, I'm working all these hours. So HR calculated, okay, based on all the hours you work, you should be being paid $80K additional every month. They took the paperwork to Diddy. Diddy ripped up the paperwork, was like, I'm not paying shit. Like crazy, crazy, crazy work. So eventually she does quit finally, but she could not get a job. Every time she thought she had a job, Diddy would intervene. One time she thought she had a job with Jimmy Iovine. Everybody know Jimmy Iovine. He was over Interscope at one time. He's real big. He's really close to Dr. Dre. Huge man in the industry. But it wasn't actually an interview. It was Jimmy Iovine summoning her to his office to say, hey, you need to just let this Diddy stuff go, because when she quit this last time, she wanted a letter of recommendation, and then she reached out to an attorney because they eventually fired her. And they said she was being fired for not properly putting her hours because she went out of the country with Rihanna or whatever. And so it was like wrongful termination. So she got a lawyer, and of course Diddy found out about it. So anyway, Jimmy Iovine summoned her to his office. She thinking it's an interview. He was like, leave Puffy alone, let this lawsuit stuff go. It's not gonna be good for you. That job didn't work. So then after that, she went to CAA. CAA is like the huge talent agency. This is her lane. This is her thing. This is her, like, her career. She's been having all her life. Like, she worked from the ground up to get to this level. CAA, like, all the biggest entertainment people with CAA agency. She said when she got to the interview, Diddy and Andre Harrell, who's now deceased, was waiting for her at that interview. So then she finally got a job with Chris Lighty. If y'all don't know who Chris Lighty is, he used to be 50 Cent's manager. That's why 50 Cent is so, like, he has his foot on Diddy's neck. Like, every day he's posting something. Because it's always been suspicious about Chris Lighty's death. Like, he was huge in the music industry too. So before she could even start, the day before she started the job, he unalived himself. For years, his family kept saying, something's wrong, something's amiss. He wouldn't do this. This wasn't his character. His brother, everybody. 50 Cent's been saying it. Everybody wants, his death to be reopened. Like, they don't believe it's a suicide. And Capricorn Clark couldn't get a job with him because she broke down on the stand. Literally the day before she started working, she could not, like, that he unalived himself. So no job. So the defense was like, but you kept going back to Diddy. They showed the text messages of her saying, she wants to work with him and things like that. They even showed text messages as early as 2024, as recent as 2024. And she was like, because I couldn't work anywhere. I couldn't get a job anywhere. And Diddy eventually settled with her with a wrongful termination, but they didn't want to. The defense kept saying objection. Every time she would talk about how much she got, objection, because basically they gave her pennies in the settlement. But a part of the settlement was a letter of recommendation so she can get another job. and Diddy wouldn't do it. So the text message you see her sending in 2021, 22, 2020, 24 is basically her trying to butter up Diddy to give her a letter of recommendation so she can work, so she can take care of her child. Because she said she has not been able to get another job anywhere. And they did not want her to also tell her amount of the settlement because it was so small versus what Cassie got. And she also talked about when Cassie got the $20 million in 2024 or 2023, it really upset her. They didn't really delve deep into that, and they kept objecting. But yeah, she was like, she wanted to do crisis management for him, but she really just wanted to work. She wanted to work. She had been in, this is the only business that she knows. She's been in this industry for so long that, you know, Diddy blackballed her. She can't work anywhere. She said to this day, this date of her sitting on the stand, she does not have a job. And she has a child. So on Simone Redwine's station's channel, she was saying she doesn't feel like this connects to the jury because it sounds like the jury is like, she said one of them is like a deli manager worker. Another person is like a retired financial analysis person. A lot of these jurors are regular people, and she feels like the prosecution, yes, the Capricorn Clark's testimony was impactful. She was crying, she was emotional. You could tell how traumatizing this was for her. You could tell how she's been through a lot in her life. But is that connecting with the jury? That was what Simone Redwine was saying. Amon Williams was saying, like, for him, I mean, his commentary was a little comedic, but I mean, like, you got to add some little comedy to this dark story of Diddy. Like, Diddy was moving like he was a mob boss. Like, it's insanity. And I don't understand the people who are defending him. It don't make absolutely another sense. But this trial seems to be really getting very muddy. It's a lot of misinformation out there. It's a lot of like articles you could tell that's favoring Diddy or allegedly maybe being Diddy's paying for to sway public opinion. Because like I said, everybody's number one thing, where's the RICO? The prosecution is laying brick by brick of the RICO. We thought the Cassie video was the kidnapping. No, this is the kidnapping. This is being held at Pum Point. This is not paying wages. This is a lot. This is like he had a whole enterprise of illegal activity. She was even saying, like, you know, his drug problem had got out of hand so bad, she wanted to go back work. She just wanted to work. This, you know, his drug problem had got out of hand so bad that she was like, I can come in and help. I can come in. She kept coming back. So it's going to be kind of hard for, I guess, a juror to see, okay, all of these horrific things did to you. You were kidnapped all these doggone times, held at point, but you kept going back. But she kept saying, because I wanted to work. I wanted my life back. She also stated, and I'm not going in any kind of order, I'm just going like things that I jotted down. She also stated, like, when Cassie was dating Kid Cudi, she was being like very not private about it. Like, she had to go get Cassie a burner phone. Like, girl, why are you texting me on a phone that Diddy pays for my phone and your phone? He gonna see this. So she took her to Best Buy to get a burner phone. That's how she was able to talk to Kid Cudi. Then one time, Cassie wanted to go to Runyon Canyon. If you know anything about LA, it's the huge canyon that you see on every movie, everything. Everybody goes there. She was like, do you want us all unalived? Like, this man is crazy. Like, you know for yourself he crazy. Look how he treating you. And she said at one point, Cassie was like, you think he really wished? Like, girl, yes. Like, are you awake? Yes, he will unalive you. We will unalive all of us. So a lot of Capricorn Clark's testimony, granted, wherever you go, you could say it was impactful for the prosecution has proven RICO, the kidnapping of it all, or you could say it was, you know, it felt deaf to the jurors who's everyday people, and these are just rich people problems. And hey, yeah, you were kidnapped, you was held in an abandoned building, but you kept going back. Like, why would you keep going back? So it depends on how the jurors feel about that. So anyway, y'all, like, comment, subscribe. This is Miss B. I was waiting so much for Capricorn Clark's testimony because I remember like seeing her around for years, being with Rihanna, being with everybody in the industry, with the who's who. Oh, she also said One time she told Cassie, girl, you need to leave him. Like, he keep beating up on you. He treat you like crap. Like you worthless and nothing. And Cassie said, well, guess what? Jay-Z's already taken. Cool. Yeah, Clark that team. Anyway, y'all, again, this is Miss B. It's really late. Gotta go to sleep. Like, comment, subscribe. And that's day 10 of Diddy Capricorn Clark. If y'all want to, like, really find the real, true tea, like, look for some of the transcripts of her testimony, or, like, really reliable sources. I wouldn't go to all the YouTube channels because, I mean, a lot of them seem biased. Like, everybody seems 50-50. Like, no, there's no Rico. Yes, there's Rico. It's like, you have to really read and go through the minutia and figure it out for yourself. Bye, y'all.